Hi, I'm Mal from the Money Study, bringing you another episode of our Take 10 Challenge, up to number 57, all about organising your finances with a partner. There's my disclaimer: facts and figures, information only, it is not advice. Okay, so we get together with a partner. You might be planning the perfect wedding. And having just been through this recently, yes, weddings, not me, but children, can indeed be very expensive. So, is your plan to have the perfect wedding? Or, as a financial coach, perhaps I might want to put a bit of pressure on you to consider what that money could be spent on alternatively. I mean, life is not always about money, obviously, but dare I say, some of the amount of money that can be spent on a wedding for a one-off event that goes within 24 hours, you might seriously want to consider your alternatives. Um, Joint accounts. Look, I am seeing more and more and more people who are getting together and keeping their accounts separate. And so they've each got their own separate finances, but they pool together for combined bills and so forth. Look, that's fine, but there certainly are advantages as a couple to do things in a joint manner, in the regard that if you were to pass away, a joint account automatically goes to the partner. It's not part of the estate. It means that you're not locking up money while all the estate is being handled. From an estate planning purposes, joint accounts certainly got advantages. And dare I say, if someone's ill or can't operate, having the other person be able to do that is certainly can be advantageous. So it really is a case that when you're getting together as a couple, it might be prudent to have that horrible conversation about money, because dare I say, a lot of divorces are created by conflicts over money. So let's get this sorted out before we even get there. And it's not a easy conversation, obviously. It's probably a little bit of a romance buster from that point of view to start talking about money. But look, honestly, you need to be able to do this easily. You need to be able to do it early. You need to be able to do it comfortably. And if you can't, then this perhaps might be ringing alarm bells for what life might be like in the future. We don't want to have some sort of horrible surprise that once you're married to find out that no, you'll just get you might be the one that's a stay-at-home parent, and the other, and that's the expectation in regards that you might just be given a small housekeeping pocket money or whatever the case may be. Honestly, no, please sit down, work out what you want to do, look at your financial goals together, and basically see whether you're on the same page. And of course, great time getting together to review wills. Normally, a marriage will make an old will null and void, so you'd want to do a re-will. Obviously, you need to review all of your insurances because your situations have changed now that you've got dependents, and of course, doing that binding death nomination on your superannuation to make sure it's now going to the appropriate person. But coming into a relationship with a plan, I think, is a great way to start. So I say you're both on the same page and you're heading in the same direction. Is your short-term goals or even long-term goals, to buy your own home, or is one person just wants to travel and couldn't be bothered buying a house and that doesn't see the point? Again, so getting together on this to find out you're on the same page could alleviate a lot of problems in the future. So, look, it's very, very difficult if a younger couple getting together where perhaps one of the partner is already very well established financially. They might have their own home, own their own car, have no debts, got good super, and their new partner hasn't got virtually any super, got lots of debt and so forth. And of course, in that situation, being completely unbalanced, it may be a case you might want to do a stock take. Maybe you want to sort of look at what you've brought into the relationship, because obviously I understand that if more than 12 months or so being together in a de facto relationship, if the relationship breaks up, then that person could walk away with half of your assets. So, whether a prenup is something you might want to go down the path or something legal, to protect it, especially perhaps in the shorter term. But I say, be careful, find out what you can and should be doing under those sort of circumstances. The difficulty, of course, is as a couple, is if one of you is a spender, loves having money, going to the shops and buying their toys and so forth, or perhaps is a gambler, big risk taker, whereas the other person is the more conservative, very, very careful with money and so forth. This can obviously cause problems, but in the same degree, so long as it's not too extreme, can actually work in the regard that if someone is too conservative, they might need someone to sort of let them a little bit loose with their purse strings, and vice versa. The gambler, the risk taker, might be reined in a little bit by the other person. But if they are worlds apart, all we're going to see is problem after problem after problem. I'm a cheery person when it comes to relationships, as you can see here. One of the issues that I see tend to happen is that one person in the relationship will be in charge of the money. So they're the people that are, paying the bills as they come in. They're responsible for paying the bills, and the other person's quite sort of passive, allowing that to happen. Look, I strongly suggest that there's a bit of sharing of this responsibility. At least the person who's not doing the bills perhaps understands how to get into the bank accounts, can see the bank accounts, can see what's going on, and is able to participate and make suggestions and so forth. So you can get together, review it, so you're coming into that sort of review, not blind, that you've done your sort of homework, you know where you're sitting, and you're an active part of the relationship. Having one person in charge and the other person completely blind, I think obviously can cause problems down the track for manipulation or, sort of taking advantage of the partner under those sort of circumstances. So being both accountable, I think, for everything, I think is not a bad way, in the regard that if you take it in turns of paying the bills, or just sharing the responsibilities of understanding where the money goes, and having regular discussions can only be useful. And obviously, if you've got investments and so forth, there are tax implications. So understanding who's in what tax bracket and being able to construct your sort of investments around those different situations can be certainly quite sensible as well. And of course, with things like insurances, it's usually family discounts. So if you go to a company to get life cover, but you and your partner go along, it can actually be done as a family arrangement, and you can find that there's discounts applicable on that as well. Already done a little video on spouse splitting. So especially if there is a difference in age, there can be some advantages if you've now got a partner, especially say if they're different in age, to be able to manipulate moving money between the partners for various different reasons. Have a look at the video on spouse splitting. Yep, I already just mentioned prenups, but just any sort of binding financial agreement might be something that may be required to protect you. There's some warning signs. Warning signs if there are things going wrong. As I say, if one person just really does want to control all of the accounts, not letting the second person even be involved in all, or just dismisses it, that's a warning sign. If they're not prepared to sit down and talk about this, that's all right, don't worry about it. That's dismissive nature and shouldn't be tolerated. If the one person refuses to contribute, to say, look, okay, one part might say, well, you've got enough money, you can pay for the kids' fees, I'm not doing that. I want to buy myself a new car. Now, obviously, these are serious problems as far as any sort of relationship is concerned. And boy, oh boy, do I see it. It happens a lot more than perhaps, certainly more than I was expecting, I must admit. Taking out loans, this is also obviously a danger. If never ever sign something that you are not aware of what you're signing. And I say, certainly if it's a loan document, you absolutely want to know what this loan is all about, what it's for, what are the ramifications, what's the security, what's been put up as the security against this debt. but obviously what's the purpose of it is the main thing we need to understand. But yes, you don't want to be signing off on especially on a new relationship, if you're not sharing your accounts and so forth. If they got into a new loan, that you could end up then, if you're signed off on it, being responsible as they walk away from it, and so it goes on. Money being hidden from you. Yeah, look, it's hard to know that's going on. I did have a client lady about 6 months or so ago who had $320,000 in her runaway account. She actually had it with one of her girlfriends, had the money in an account in her name. But yeah, $320,000 of the partner didn't even know about. Her comment was when she got it to 350 or 400, then she was out of there. Tough one. But obviously, if you have been keeping an eye on your other bank accounts and where the income's coming in, and income coming in doesn't add up to the money you got, then you've got to start asking questions. Well, where did all that money go to? And so, yeah, keeping track is the best way to protect yourself from that point of view. If your partner makes you feel incompetent, you're hopeless, I'll look after it, don't worry about it. Well, use it as a learning experience. You say, look, I'd love to learn. Can you sit me down and explain what's going on? I'd love to be smarter with money, sort of give them that, sort of make them feel smarter and let them be the teacher. But for them to just turn around and call you incompetent and dismiss you, that is abuse as far as I'm concerned. Be aware also, of course, as relationships mature, and then there's, of course, the parents come into account, that perhaps any of this financial abuse that you might have experienced or noted is not then carried out on elderly parents and so forth. Look, there's help that can be obtained from people like Lifeline, Relationships Australia and so forth. Quite a few different organisations there that you might want to get help. Now, as I say, I've painted a pretty bleak picture on relationships, but as a financial coach, I have definitely seen it all as regards to how people can mistreat other people when it comes to money. Any sort of pressure relating to you and your money from a partner, that is abuse. That is abuse, and it needs to be knocked on the head, quick, smart. So that's why I say open up the channels early in the relationship, ensure you're on the same page, set your goals. Goals are fantastic to make sure that things get done, but by sitting down and doing your goals, you know that you're both heading in the same direction, and these sort of issues are far less likely to occur. I wish you well with your relationships. Have a good, happy relationships, and perhaps we'll get to see you both at some point.